Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is March the 16th, 2026. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Monday, happy Garfield Day to ya. Hopefully you got that lasagna, maybe a little wine, a little garlic bread. Maybe you're feeling hungry enough for some seconds, and by golly, there's some left on the table. I hope you get it. I hope you take it. As for me, I got mine. It was good. It was yummy. But before we talk about Monday, for what it was, for what it is, let's talk about Sunday, because I missed a day. I will say, in my defense, I did comb the news feed multiple times, and I just didn't see anything outside of what we have already been talking about covering. I guess I could have done some of the stories that I have before us today, because, essentially these are kind of quote unquote leftovers. But I don't know. I just wasn't really feeling them until I got to Monday and then really looked and sat with the stories or heard more context or updates, and I was like, all right, no, I do want to cover this story or that story. So I just didn't. And, just did my usual things. I got up actually, and it was nice because no Saturday night out, no rager. I'm so productive on Sunday. It is like the best Sunday for me because I wake up in a timely fashion, nice and early. I'm waking up before Kroger is even open, and I'm good to go. I'm ready. Okay, I'm getting myself ready. I go. I think actually no, I hung out until maybe about 9:30. But I get to Kroger nice and early, get my groceries in, get my gym time in after that, and then I'm just chilling. That was more or less, the top half of my day. Very productive, very on it. Gym session went well, nothing too crazy, nothing too rowdy. We just hit our set. You know how that goes. Or should I say sets? But anyway, after that, I was just chilling. I took a nap because I got up, and then I had a date. Yes, another date. It's been nice. This was a very chill situation. In fact, it was a Chinese and chill situation. We were just hanging out, watching some Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which fucking rocks. I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Then we got some Chinese food, a little local Chinese spot. I ordered the pepper steak, with peppers and onions. And then also I got pork fried rice in an egg roll, and then also crab rangoons. And it was all good. It was all yummy. I will say the pepper steak was good, but not in the way that I wanted to. And I need to make an aside here because I'm very weirdly passionate about pepper steak. I want a certain kind of pepper steak, and it's the kind that I think you can only get I'm sure you can get it somewhere else. I have to believe this, that I usually only find it in a buffet, and it's dry, and it's just covered in pepper flakes, and then it's got some onions, some green peppers, of course, and it's just this fried steak. It's so good that way to me. I love it. This one had it was in its own liquid, which was good. It was a yummy, almost broth situation. But once I got halfway through it, I was just kind of swimming through onions and peppers, which were good. They were yummy. But, once again, it just wasn't my dream. And I just wanted to try it. My default, I'm sure I've said this before on the pod, is General Tso's chicken. I love General Tso's chicken when I'm ordering out. I think if and when we go back there, I would probably get that because I tried my dates meal, which they got sesame chicken, which is perfect because really sesame chicken, orange chicken, General Tso's chicken, they're all pretty much the same chicken. You're just swapping out the sauce. You know what I mean? It's the same situation. There's a side of broccoli or whatever, what have you. Usually the sauce is a sticky situation, which I really like, thick and sticky. And that was yummy. It was good. Then let's see what else was there. Did I mention the crab rangoons? We ran some crab rangoons. Good sauce. 2 thumbs up. Overall, very good, very yummy. That was nice. I did have to head out later in the night to get home, which was a rainstorm, which was, oh, that was so fun. Look, honestly, I can generally handle it, like, in terms of, like, just driving. I consider myself about a C-rate driver. Not the best, not the worst. But I was driving, it was, like, me and just a pickup truck. And we were not driving very fast, I noticed. I was like, oh, I'm driving, like, 60 on the highway right now because it just feels like I'm out in the ocean. It just felt like, oh yeah, I need to like cue some Stan Rogers. I need some fucking sea shanties right now. Batten down the hatches type beat. But got home okay, no problems, no worries. I will say on the, like, as I was pulling up, like, into my drive, it sounded like I was running aground or like something was like draining or something. I was so confused and so disoriented from it. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I tried to get the flashlight out, but it's raining and I couldn't really tell. I'm like, I'll check this in the morning. I think my car's fine, but like, lo and behold, come the next day, there was a like a baby thin branch that was like kind of strewn across the undercarriage of my car to yank out. I was like, what the fuck, man? Whatever. All right, we were moving, we were grooving. So needless to say, fast forward a little bit. Monday, we wake up, we get ourselves together, we head off to work. Now, I came in to nothing. There was no cardboard buggies to crush. I was like, damn, that kind of sucks. So I'm going up to get my radio, and my lead tells me, hey, we had a call out for cardboard on the third floor. I need you to handle that. Can you handle that for like about an hour or so? Then you should get some more help. You should be fine. I'm like, yeah, I got that. Plus, there's nothing for me to do downstairs. Perfect. Ooh, excuse me. So I proceed to do that for about an hour. Not too bad. I think I assembled about 3 buggies for cardboard, sent them down. And then I was like, okay, I'll go do them now. And I went downstairs and I did about 3 or 4 buggies of cardboard and just kind of kept coming to me just enough to keep me downstairs where I wanted to be for the rest of the day. So I love that for me. It was a pretty awesome day. Sans the fact that, mind you, throughout this entire day, throughout this entire time, I think I started the day off. It wasn't too bad. It was cold, which sucks because we were like having really good weather, and you know now it's back in the 30s. Windy for sure. Windy is all get out, but not too bad. And then it shifted to rain. And then from rain, it shifted to snow. And I'm like, dude, this is so annoying. It's like you're living in the biodome when you're in fucking Cincinnati, Ohio, man. I don't know. It just is what it is. You got to be ready for anything. But luckily the snow wasn't too bad. It just looked bad because all the wind, and it just was like coming down really fast. But it was like a super flurry at best, really. I don't think any of this stuff's going to stick. But it was just cold and gross and not fun. I'm ready for spring, remember? But anyway, post-work, we go to the gym. It's a busy Monday, but not too bad in terms of, like, it didn't feel super crowded. It was like the crowded I'm used to for a Monday. So I wasn't able to get on the Smith machine. I was able to do free weights. I did a double circuit of that. That went well. Did my core work. Didn't get all of the filler work that I wanted to do, but enough that I was satisfied. And then I did an hour of cardio, which felt pretty good. Now, the hour of cardio, I will say, was a little bit different than usual. Normally, I do Stairmaster, treadmill, elliptical, bike, 15 minutes each. Instead, I did 30 minutes of Stairmaster because it was one of those days where like every treadmill was pretty much taken. And I didn't want to roll the dice of hopping off the Stairmaster, cleaning it up, getting to maybe a free treadmill, and then someone hops on it. Then I look like a fucking idiot. No, thank you. So I was like, okay, we'll just do 30 minutes there. That worked. And then, you know, the rest was the usual. So yeah, that was my gym time. It was good time. Post the gym, we come home, we have our stretch, we have our snack, and then we do some research, you know, the usual. Like I said, we got some leftovers. We got a little bit of breaking news too that I was like, I'll go ahead and throw that in here on the pot. Hopefully get it all done. Hopefully I don't fuck it up. Here we go. Let's find out. But no, let's go ahead and do our startup and let's get into some news. All right. I also want to talk about cravings while we're doing this. I have been craving since like last night, a burger. I've been craving a burger again. I'm back. I have burger fever again. Ugh, so frustrating. I had the burger like a month ago. I should be fine, but like it just comes up upon me like lycanthropy or something. I'm morbid out about it. I don't know. Yes, I know that's not a werewolf reference. I don't care. But no, I will say I have this, shallow vein moment though of hopping on the scale, seeing the scale and being like, no, it's fine. I'm glad I didn't have the burger. I felt good about it. Like in a good way, not in like a self-deprecating way. I saw a number that I liked and I was like, hell yeah. Okay. Cause if we had a burger and onion rings and some fries, that would not be the same number. But maybe that's not the right, I don't know, mechanisms to be using, whatever. But hey, it worked. It worked for the day, y'all. But the way I would hit up a Culver's would be devious right now. I cannot lie. I cannot lie to you. Anyway. Okay. Our first story comes from The Guardian. Charges filed against man accused of selling gun to Old Dominion shooter. The U.S. Department of Justice on Friday charged a man who authorities say sold a gun to the Old Dominion University, or ODU, shooter despite the gunman's previous conviction in a terrorism case. Kenya Chapman is facing federal charges in connection to the sale of the weapon to Mohammed Baylor Jallo, a former Army National Guard member who yelled Allahu Akbar before he opened fire in a classroom at the Virginia school on Thursday, according to authorities. One person was killed and two others were injured in the shooting. Jallo was barred from possessing a gun, given a previous felony conviction for attempting to aid the Islamic State, or IS, extremist group. Chapman was charged with making a false statement during a firearm purchase and engaging in business of firearms without, and engaging in the business of firearms dealing without a license. Chapman told agents in an interview that he stole the gun from a car in Newport News, Virginia, about a year ago before the shooting, and recently sold it to Jallo. Excuse me. Chapman said he met Jallo at work and that Jallo told him he needed the gun for protection as a delivery driver, according to court papers. Chapman told agents he knew Jallo had spent some time behind bars, but denied knowing he had a previous felony conviction. Chapman told agents he had no idea the man would commit the attack, the affidavit said. Earlier on Friday, a law enforcement official told the Associated Press that Jallo used a gun with an obliterated serial number, potentially complicating investigators' efforts to determine how he obtained the firearm. Now, it's worth noting that let's see. Actually, is it? Yeah, he's already dead. Like this is one of those things where it's like, this is a situation where you cannot convict a dead body. So I feel like there's a bit of a spillover. We've talked about this before, where it's like in a similar situation with like the school shootings of like, okay, yeah, we convicted the kid, but it doesn't feel like enough. We got to get some kind of pound of flesh here. So like, let's get this guy. Now, I'm not saying that this isn't justified. Clearly, this man broke the law doing what he was doing. But it's not solving any kind of issue at all. It's not attacking this problem head on or any kind of direct way or doing anything. It's just saying, hey, we need to make sure that we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's here. In a legal sense, this guy needs to go to jail for his crime. So like, let's make sure we get him. All right, cool. And then what is that? Is that a justice served moment in any way, shape, or form? Like a person did die here. Technically two people did die here. So I don't know. It is what it is. I know there's more details here that we could go over. But yeah, I knew that I was like, hey, I didn't cover that over the weekend. I should cover that now. Better late than never. Let's move on. Speaking of things, better late than never. Unfortunately, this is still an ongoing issue. I'm not going to lie. I thought it would be resolved sooner, but no, we are going later. From CNN. More airport disruptions expected as TSA agents quit amid first weekend without full pay. 1 month into the partial government shutdown, hundreds of Transportation Security Administration workers going without full pay have quit, while others have taken unscheduled time off, prompting more travel headaches as a winter storm slams the Midwest and spring break travelers try to fly. Oh yeah, it's worth noting too that in some areas of America right now, there are blizzards. Also in my area, a lot of tornado talk. So yeah, I mean, once again, the whole nation's just kind of going right now. It's that winter spring transition, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a weatherman, but anyway, shit's crazy right now, and TSA is definitely feeling the brunt of some political bad weather, so to speak. I'll try to make that work there. Anyway, at times Monday, wait times reported at Hartson Jackson Atlanta International Airport and Houston's George Bush Intercontinental Airport stretched up to nearly 2 hours. Stretched up to nearly 2 hours long. More than 300 TSA agents have quit, the Department of Homeland Security said in an ex post Friday. I was listening to a story on ABC Start Here, and it was saying how some TSA agents are working 10-hour shifts. Then after those shifts, they are working 4 or 5 hours doing DoorDash, Uber Eats, some kind of gig work or something to kind of make ends meet. Just to even try to make ends meet, not necessarily making that happen because you don't have a paycheck. You're already down. There's some people who from the previous fucking shutdown were having to go through that. They had to take out loans and had to ask friends, families for favors and things like that. They're having to dip into that shit again. You're going into more debt. Like, this is such a terrible fucking situation for any American human being, period, to have to go through. And you're looking at what is the cause of this. And really, it's like, and you could say, oh, well, because the Democrats are fighting to try to make some real changes to ICE. And what are those changes? Again, no mask. Okay, cool. Show your badges. Don't dog gloves. Okay, good. Do that shit. But, and also, let's make better training for them. Like, this sounds awfully fucking familiar to just what we've been doing with law enforcement, with essentially just kiting that shit along. Once again, not attacking any kind of real problem. You're not getting rid of ICE. You're not actually reforming ICE in any kind of real way. You're just talking about some small changes that you're saying are going to make really big reforms, really big ways when they actually get initiated. Sure. So you can just keep pumping them along and keep filling their coffers full of fucking money. Both sides did that shit, not just Republicans. Also Democrats. So it's like, this is so empty. And when you actually are seeing the cost, like the real human cost here, people who are working their shit to the goddamn bone, and then they got to work extra just to make money because they're not seeing a check right now. That's crazy to me. So it's like, oh, you can call the Democrats cowards or whatever. Fine, dude. But this whole thing is political theater from start to finish. It's crazy that people have to sacrifice their whole goddamn livelihoods for it. That's insane. It's also one of these cruel jokes that it's like, yeah, man, good thing you didn't get that government job. Good thing you didn't actually go for that, go out of your way for that kind of shit. Even though that's what people would tell you your entire life. Hey, man, getting a good government job would be super slick because that's going to cover your shit for life. It's at least a living. Might not be the best living in the world for sure, but you're getting a steady paycheck. It's the government. They always need you. Yeah, they always need you. They won't always fucking pay you, I guess. And that's insane to me. Multiple times. We did this shit last year. We're doing this shit this year. It's crazy. We're going over, I think it's at least maybe as of this recording, it's at 34 days counting. The last one we had 43 days. Now that affected more branches or departments, whatever. So I think that had more coverage and it was more on people's minds. More people were talking about it. But this is still a thing. Like, once again, you should still think about these people having to double dip into their lives, having to dip into their 401ks and shit. Like, that's insane. It just should never be like this, man. Fuck this shit. I really, at this point on this, I don't even care whether we're talking, once again, conservative, liberal. Fuck it, man. Like, you at least gotta make sure these motherfuckers are getting paid. They are working for you. They're working for us. And not to mention, too, you can add in the fact that the customers, we, Americans, are paying for this. If you have to travel, you need to travel. At any given point right now, it is an extra fucking thing. They're telling you to get to the airport 3 hours early. Are you fucking kidding me? How do people make that work? And people wonder why I don't travel. I'm sorry. People, when I tell people I don't travel, they gawk. They wow. This shit is not cheap. It's not free. Do you see where we live? That shit is a whole ass fucking thing to do. And I'm sorry, mama. Like, yeah, I know. But like, I don't have the funds, period. I don't have the resources, period. Like, when I run the inventory to these people, when I say this shit, they go, yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I don't live on a TLC shoestring budget, bro. I'm a real dude. I'm a real broke dude. You know this. At the end of this, I'm about to be begging for fucking Patreon subscriptions. You know how this goes. Sorry. You know, I'm a podcaster. I have to make it about me. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. We got to talk food. Talk chef talk, all right? Because some controversy has been going down, I guess, at this restaurant called Noma. I've obviously never been, hence the broke, you know. But let's go ahead and talk about it. We're going back to The Guardian. Noma chef resigns amid allegations of physical abuse of staff. Rene Redzepi, the head chef and co-founder of Noma, has announced his resignation from his internationally acclaimed Copenhagen restaurant following allegations he physically abused his staff. Redzepi had been facing protests in Los Angeles before a 4-month pop-up that launched this week. His resignation on Wednesday comes after the New York Times detailed allegations of physical and psychological abuse, including claims that he punched employees in the face, jabbed them with kitchen implements, and slammed them against walls. Now, I got a picture of the guy in the thumbnail. I could not imagine getting just yucked up by this guy, dude. Like, and then not to mention, you have to take a fucking jab from this dude. Okay, ow, fuck. Like, sure, your knee-jerk reaction, I know my knee-jerk reaction would be to fight. I fight, retaliate. But then I'm thinking, if I do this, I'm blackballed. I'm blacklisted in this fucking industry. That's my last day probably ever in some kind of fine dining establishment doing this shit. Oh, well, you could sue him. Da-da-da-da. Oh, okay. I can make a stink, but this guy has a bigger bank than me. My lawyer's gonna have baggy pants and some shit. His lawyer's gonna be in a 3-piece suit with some fucking white shoes and shit. I'm cooked, chat. Like, I don't know, man. I can understand how people kind of silently endure this shit. Or, you know, they take the loss, they leave the job, and they just try to do something kind of slowly but surely, but they realize they're only one person. It's just crazy that this dude was getting away with it, though. Like he kept, you know, just being more and more successful, just kept blowing up. Also, mind you, too, because I was looking this up, like, I literally had heard, like, dude apparently made edible dirt. That was a thing. That was a signature dish that, like, got blown up. I don't know if signature dish is the right word. I am a plebeian. But I was looking over this shit. We're going to take it aside, just kind of looking at things. And once again, if you're kicking my ass, banging my shit against a wall over a fucking terrarium food bowl, hell no, motherfucker. To me, I'm going to be like, that's my last day in the industry. Let's fucking go. It's a street fight. We're street fighting in this kitchen. You are no Anthony Bourdain, brother. I'm fucking fighting. All right, but let me keep reading. He wrote in an Instagram story, "I've decided to step away and allow our extraordinary leaders to now guide the restaurant into its next chapter." Redzepi said the recent weeks have brought attention and important conversations about our restaurant, industry, and my past leadership, writing, "I've worked to be a better leader, and Noma has taken big steps to transform the culture over many years. I recognize these changes do not repair the past. An apology is not enough. I take responsibility for my own actions." I mean, I guess better late than never on the public apology statement thingy, bob. And obviously leaving is good. But yeah, Redzepi said he was also resigning from the board of MAD, a food industry nonprofit he founded in 2011. He also posted a video of himself apologizing to staff and announcing his departure. American Express and Blackbird, a hospitality company, had cut ties with Noma in the lead up to the LA pop-up. But yeah, apparently the New York Crimes, interviewed 35 people and described a pattern of physical punishment and lasting trauma from layers of psychological abuse, including intimidation, body shaming, and public ridicule. The chef threatened to get employees blacklisted from the industry, have their families deported, and have family members fired from jobs at other businesses, the report said. I think also I don't know if he used this excuse directly or people were using it for him, but some people were like, it is kind of like the toxic work culture of being a chef at these kind of like echelons and even in lower ones. Like, you know, you have to lead with a rough hand, and a rough hand was probably dealt on you. And it's like, that is a terrible fucking excuse to try to use to say, hey, guys, line up. I'm going to go and just punch every single one of you because you all fucked up my dish. You all dragged my line and you all deserve to die. You're all shit. Like, no, dude, treat me like a fucking human. We make a mistake. We're going to fix the shit. We're going to fucking do better. But like, I do get it. I believe that for his Noma LA residency, they're charging $1,500 a ticket. which sold out in minutes. People were down to eat this shit, to eat this smoky, leafy, whatever the fuck, to eat this weird, I don't know. I can't describe some of these things. I just know that like there's smoky, I don't know, frozen nitrogen or some shit involved, whatever. It looks cool, but it's kind of kooky, and I cannot imagine how much it would cost for a fucking plate, or if like maybe once again, I'm an idiot, I'm a plebeian, maybe people can explain this to me better, but maybe you're buying a ticket and then everything is just gonna get served to you, right? Like you're just getting all access to this vision of this food team or whatever at Noma. And you're going to be pleased as fuck, and you're going to tell everyone that you went there, and it was so good. It was such a yummy little bush thing I ate. Cool. I guess that's what you do when you have a lot of money. I mean, Noma had been repeatedly ranked number 1 on the world's 50 best restaurants. So once again, I guess he feels like he's really got some shit to maintain. But I mean, they've caught this guy apparently on like his own documentary in 2008, yelling at his own staff, which, look, I think yelling is maybe something that people could see and go, oh, I kind of expect that maybe. Like, you know, a little hop behind, pick it up, whatever. Like, that's how it goes in a kitchen. But even so, that is verbal abuse. I think it's good to clock that as what it is. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, you know, fucked up. But like, yeah, if you thought that was the whole thing, I could understand being like, all right, damn, that's fucked, but we can move on, you know? Worse things have happened in life. The idea of saying, like, no, I'm gonna literally beat on these motherfuckers is crazy. So, you know, that's no good. Sorry, I got a thing in my way here. There we go. Okay, let's move on to our next story. From BBC. Utah bereavement author found guilty of fatally poisoning her husband. Let me take a quick water break here. This was some breaking news. I literally saw it as I was getting ready to boot it up, and I said, you know what? Let's actually cover something new, not just the leftovers. So here we go. Here's a real story. We're just going to rip it. And it's an update, too. We've talked about this previously on Isaiah's Newsstand. We're actually not going to do a big recap, but that's what we would do if we were a higher quality product production. I don't know. If this podcast was brought to you by cereal, that's probably some shit I would do. I don't know. Anywho, a mother who published a children's book about grief after the death of her husband has been found guilty of his murder. A jury found that Corey Richins killed her husband in March of 2022 by poisoning him with a fentanyl-laced drink. The jury deliberated the case for about 3 hours before reaching its verdict. During the trial, the court heard how Richins, 35, had racked up millions of dollars in debt, had taken out life insurance policies on her husband, and was having an extramarital affair. Dude, she was just living a life like it's golden, prosecutors called over 40 witnesses, including the woman who said she sold drugs used to kill Eric Richins. Her defense team chose not to call any witnesses and rested her case without having her take the stand to testify in her own defense. Okay, the last part of that I do get. Like, given the situation at hand, and in most situations you don't do this typically, you don't take the stand in your own defense because, yeah, you might be able to sell a good story to the jury from your own words, but guess what? You might get eviscerated by the prosecution. They might be waiting to get your ass and just throw you that fucking fade. So it's not worth it a lot of times and not. But no character witnesses, no kind of expert witness to give you something. Once again, it is kind of screaming brokey. I don't know. I would be putting something on here. If I'm making headlines with my story, where is my defense? My defense is not showing up for me. They're letting me I'm getting crucified out there. They're saying I did all that shit. Yeah, maybe it's true. But like, we gotta defend me. Man, I'll be feeling so cooked after like witness fucking 30 and I look over at my team and I'm like, so who are we bringing up? And they're just like, no one. Do you want me to lose? I would be shook as fuck. Anyway, let me get back to the story. She had faced several charges, including a charge of attempted murder, which was filed 1 year after her husband's death. Officials said she was found to have poisoned his sandwich, nearly killing him, before later increasing the doses until he died. I think I might be getting this wrong, but I think he was also kind of hip to the fact that, like, no, something's wrong here. Like, I think my wife's trying to fuck with me because I keep getting sick. And, like, he was, like, talking to his friends and stuff. And, like, you could kind of see that he was, like, coming to this conclusion, but not maybe wanting to come to this conclusion. Once again, if I'm getting the story straight. So it's just so sad to be in this thing where this dude's just getting completely fucked on here. And then dies. And then I think she writes a book, like, getting over it or some shit. We're going to get there. Give me a second. She was also charged with 2 counts of insurance fraud and 1 count of forgery related to attempts to profit from his death. Richens was arrested in March of 2023, which is probably around the time we started covering this. 2 months after she published the picture book, Are You With Me?, which she said was to help people, including her 3 children, cope with the death of a loved one. So, like, low-key, she was profiting off of this. And I remember seeing clips of, like, her, like, you know, like, explaining the book and da-da-da-da. It's like, oh, that's so disgusting, dude. Like, off of his dead body, you're doing this shit. Oh, it's so gross. So yeah, man, a bit disturbed, a bit twisted, but that's true crime, love. Anyway, let's move on. We have just a quick little rundown. Once again, I wanted to talk at least some new news in this breaking thing that came out of Utah. But, really, we're not actually covering these stories. I just wanted to kind of mention them. But let's go ahead and take our last break, and then we'll yap a bit about the Trump admin. We're going to step into the Trump verse. Every time I say that, I always, like, have this thought in my head that, like, it's giving like a Dark Souls Elden Ring portal, I think is really what I'm thinking here. And, like, instead of it, like, being, like, yellowy, it's, like, orange, and I'm stepping into the Trump verse. And we're talking about just some crazy shit Trump's doing. And I know no one's getting that reference, sans maybe 2-3 people that listen, but thank you for understanding. Ooh. Also, random good news, though. I did hear they found a bunch of new, or not new, but they're old Doctor Who episodes. I kind of thought that was pretty neat. Just like old, not archived, they were kind of lost. I think they had been lost to some private buyer or something, but then they were found. And I was like, hell yeah, dude, that's pretty cool. Anyway, that's not Trump related, but anyway. Just gonna read off a bit of this headline here from CNN. U.S. allies balk at Trump's appeal to help secure Strait of Hormuz. And then Trump cited, and this is from AP News, Trump sidestepped diplomacy on his way to war in Iran. Now he is asking China and others for help. So you're getting this Isaiah's way here. But essentially, Trump has kind of come out, and this has been like a building, running statement of being like, hey, the Strait of Hormuz is an issue. Not really for me, not really for America. We don't need this oil. But like so many of you guys do. Our allies, like China, even you're not an ally, obviously, but you need it. Like, you need to traverse this area, and Iran is blowing it up. They're mining the shit. So, like, help us. Like, get involved. Help us. And essentially, like, the UK is like, we already got you with those defensive little base situation or whatever. And you said that, like, I'm no Winston Churchill. You don't need me. Yada, yada. Actually, he did not say this shit because Keir Starmer doesn't have a fucking spine. But essentially, he's like, no, we're gonna look into it maybe, but we're only really invested is what we're invested in right now. I don't think we're needed in that way. We don't want to be involved in that way. More or less, countries, I think even Germany kind of came out with a statement saying something very similar of like, I mean, we'll look into it, but this isn't our fight. Like, we don't want to get any more involved than we already are. Like, no, we're fine. If anything, we want a diplomatic solution. That's what we're looking for. That's what we're fighting for. This isn't a NATO thing. That's another thing that Trump has kind of invoked. It's like, hey, this is like a NATO issue. And everyone's like, it's not. Which I find to be very funny. So yeah, I mean, he's trying to like beg bully and get people on board here to deal with the Strait of Hormuz. And then with China, they're like, no, I don't think we're going to do that. No, thanks. And I've heard too that they are actually able to like kind of curry some kind of arrangement with Iran so that they can get at least some shit through. So they're not completely hurt here. And if that's not even the case, they still have other means. Like I know there's a lot of people like steaming their fucking keyboards trying to say, like, actually, this is going to be some in run around two, like fucking with China. It's like, dude, it's crazy to be that hawkish and make some kind of op-ed about that, but go off, King. You're going to get your money. I get it. But I don't think that that's going to actually hurt China the way people are thinking. This is annoying. It's frustrating. It's a nettle for everyone. It's a fucking energy crisis that we and Israel are fucking conducting and making and squeezing. So, you know, there's that. That's happening. And at least it's funny that Trump is just kind of in this little bit of a sticky wicket. But, you know, he's going to keep powering through. Our God Emperor in Orange is going to keep on moving. Keep on trucking, baby. And then I wanted to touch on this too, just a little bit from Axios. Judge blocks vaccine changes recommended by RFK Jr.'s advisors. So we're going to click and dig in here a little bit real quick. A federal judge on Monday blocked Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. from carrying out vaccine policy changes recommended by his handpicked advisory committee, including a dramatic overhaul of the childhood vaccination schedule. The injunction from U.S. District Court Judge Brian Murphy is another blow to Kennedy's efforts to overhaul federal vaccine policy at a time when the White House is seeking to limit vaccine critics' influence within the administration. Now, this doesn't necessarily fully stop anything. It might just be a delaying of the thing. But I mean, hey, we'll take whatever kind of good news you're going to get. But I did kind of at least want to hit this highlighted portion real quick before we close it out. The Vaccine Advisory Panel, which advises the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, has voted to endorse several changes to vaccine standards over the past year, including dropping the recommendation that all infants receive a hepatitis B shot. It's like, these are things that you are playing with fire just to appease some kind of fucking base so that you can write some cool radical book that people will buy, or you'll go on fucking Joe Rogan's podcast and you'll get all your fucking accolade points or some shit. Like, you're playing with people's lives, dude. You're playing with like the American people at large, I feel like. I mean, I'm no goddamn scientist here, but it's just crazy to do this so that you can like appease some vaccine skeptics. Like, just take the fucking shit, please. Like, I don't know, man. It's just wild to me that we are going through time, history, actual, like, scientific research, and just trying to throw it out. Just trying to just, like, fucking make it go away so that you can just not get jabbed. I'll never square this. It just doesn't make sense to me. Oh, you're just a sheep, brother. Bah, bah, bah. That's why you don't get it. I guess, man. I guess I'll race you to the end, motherfucker. I don't know. It's fucking goofy to me, dude. But anyway, that's really all I have today. I will say, I guess I could talk about the Oscars, even though I didn't watch it, even though I really don't care that much about it, because you know me. If I was going to be talking about an award show, there'd have to be some kind of controversy. And the controversy this year was Timothée Chalamet showed up and they roasted his ass, and it was funny. So, I mean, I've been beating that horse. But on the subject of Timothée Chalamet, Dune 3, they're dropping promos. We're talking trailers are coming. I'm excited because we're talking Dune Messiah. I'm not going to go into any kind of spoilers, okay? And I'm not here to just blah, blah, blah about Dune and waste our time. We are doing a little cinema corner, a little book corner, because I love Dune. Dune was like the last big, like sci-fi big, like series thing that I really ate up. And I will say that was the time that I actually was in love with Timothée Chalamet. And I say this to my friends. Look, I am a Timothée Chalamet hater if there's no Dune movie coming or out in theaters. When that shit is in motion, then guess what? I am back on. I'm actually becoming a TC defender. Cue the Dune music. I've got to stop. I'm sorry. I am excited though. I'm curious to see how we're gonna do this shit. Dune Messiah is my second favorite book in the series. Obviously, God Emperor, the fourth book, is my favorite. I would love to talk about this shit if you understand what the fuck I'm talking about right now. But no, I'm excited about this. I'm curious to see how it's going to get broken down and what the characters are all going to look like. So yeah, I'm excited. I forgive him. Okay, all right. That's what I'm saying. That's what we're closing out on. All right. I have no morals. I am a hypocrite, and I do it all for Frank. Do it all for Frank Herbert. I don't give a fuck. I'm trying to see the shit in theaters. Let's go. Anyway, that's it. That's all I have for today. If you would like to help out, support the effort, become a newsie today. It's shill time. Yeah, you get access to my extra thoughts, which I don't add too much on, but every once in a while I get in a little mode. I scribble, I little type on my little thing and post that. There's some old archive episodes. Yeah, it's a tip jar. Let's just cut the shit. It's a tip jar, and I appreciate it. You do get newsy status. I shout you out at the top of the month. Do a little newsy roll call. Plug a project, plug a thing you're doing, if that's what you'd like. It's almost like a cameo experience. But no, really, once again, it's a tip jar. Thank you if you do so. It is much appreciated. Free ways to hit me up at zanews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Follow on Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen. Leave a like. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. All the stars on Spotify and or Apple Podcasts are always appreciated. But if you don't do that, that's A-okay. That's hunky-dory to me. I really am just thankful that I get the opportunity to yap to you, and that there's someone on the other side of this microphone, on the speaker, whatever, and y'all listening. And that's cool. That's so rad. So yeah, thank you just for that alone. You're a real peach. You're a total plum. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.